New York, I had a sense of what it should look like. I've been to Washington, D.C., and so I've seen some amazing Christmas trees and displays. And so we walked in this area where they've never seen a Caucasian before. And not that I'm technically Caucasian, I'd be considered Middle Eastern or olive skin. I just did 23andMe, and it came back today. I was a little disturbed to find out I was 94% Arab. Well, clearly that joke did not go over very well. I'm Jewish, and Arab, and you'd have to have been there. But anyway, and so there we are, and they're touching my hair and the face, and it was just a unique experience. And here I'm covering for the Chicago Tribune as a project this election. And all of a sudden we got to the city square 3.5 miles from where we were living, and there was a Christmas tree. I'm not kidding you. It was a Charlie Brown Christmas, a Christmas tree like this with a single string of lights around it. In my mind, I'm thinking, I walked 3.5 miles to see this. It was that day I came to hate Christmas trees. I know that's not true. And it was that day I just said, this is so weird, until they had a generator and they plugged the light in and it was generated power, and this one string of lights goes on, and there's got to be 3,500 people there, and these Jamaicans are crying and screaming and jumping up and down and applauding. It was quite an experience. It was amazing how grateful these impoverished people were over a single Christmas tree. There's life, and there's days in my life that are depressing, just like your life. Days that are challenging, and yet still, years later, when I'm ungrateful because I didn't get a parking place as close to the mall as I perhaps wanted to get, or I feel that somebody's overlooked me, I am somehow or other reflecting over 40 years ago at that moment and saying, the gratefulness of these people, it still causes me to wonder, to ponder, and treasure. This Christmas Eve, I just want to ask you a simple question. What is it, no matter what you're going through, that causes you to wonder, to ponder, to treasure? See, the attitudes we reflect on create the testimony that we magnify to others. Do you wonder with amazement, or do you wonder with frustration? Do you wonder with gratefulness, or do you wonder with, I got the short end of the stick? Do you have a pondering of your abundance, or do you just look at your lack, what you don't have? Consider this Christmas how the birth in Christ literally impacted the reflections and testimony of certain people. It changed what they wondered about. It changed what they pondered about. It changed their whole trajectory of their life. The shepherds had just witnessed, as we mentioned Sunday morning, what was it? Angels we have heard on high, an angelic choir. They've just experienced heaven touching the earth. We mentioned Luke 2:15-18. And it came to pass, as the angels were gone away from them into heaven, the shepherds said to one another, listen to these words, let us now go even unto Bethlehem and see this which has come to pass, which the Lord had made known to the least of all people, us. And they came with haste, and they found Mary and Joseph and the babe lying in a manger. Now, and when they had seen it, they made known abroad the saying which was told them concerning this child. And all that had heard it, what's the word? Wondered at those things which were told them by the shepherd. What was the initial reaction to the message pertaining to Christ? Wonder. Unto us a child is born. Unto us a son is given. They were amazed or filled with questions. Maybe it was doubt, maybe it was unbelief, maybe it was a skeptical confidence, but they wondered. It's okay to have questions when you're told such an incredible story, when heaven opens up and touches earth, and you're saying, how could such a thing happen? There's something unique about Christianity. Friends, we do not try to bring people to faith by religion. We try to bring them to faith through relationship with God. There is no other relationship. There is no other religion. There is no other belief system. Even the Judaism that I came from that does the same. The Jews still came to God through the law. What is it that you still wonder about? I still wonder about, how could God become a man? How could God leave heaven? I still wonder how I, who was nothing, can become everything through his grace. Do you ever wonder how you've been not reformed, but transformed by the amazing things he's done? I've been sharing the gospel for over 40 years, and still I wonder and wonder and wonder over it. Christ becoming flesh is still the wonderment for many. But you see, this story calls us to do more than just wonder. It says in Luke 2:19, but Mary kept all these things and what? Pondered them in her heart. Friends, the attitudes we reflect on create the testimony that we magnify to others. You see, the second action that really comes out of this passage is treasured. What is it that you really treasure in your life? Help your children not to over-treasure the magnificent gifts you're going to give them tonight and tomorrow. Help your family to get beyond the Christmas tree and the beautiful lights here. What I treasure in my heart is not only that he came in the flesh on my behalf, I treasure that I know him. How about you? As the shepherds worshiped him after receiving the good news, they were rejected, but so can I. I treasure not a season or a holiday, but rather a pearl of great price. There's one thing, and I think part of it's not being brought up in the church, being brought up in a Jewish home, being brought up in a home that had no regard for Jesus. I still cannot stop treasuring what he's done for me. But you see, friends, it's the third action in our story that occupies my waking hours. And friends, it's been happening throughout this season. It happens to me on an ongoing basis. This happened to me for 3 consecutive years before a revival broke out in our church that lasted over 2 years. They pondered. I ponder, how can I make Christ known in this world, even as the shepherds did? When you're brought up in a family where they do not know Jesus, when you're brought up in a family where they have no regard for God, I pondered and pondered my brother's salvation. And 8 years after I got saved, this unbelieving lawyer and CPA, a wealthy man, a guy who's 3 inches shorter than me, it has nothing to do with my message, but I wanted you to know that. He's a tax collector with the IRS for 8 years, and Zacchaeus was a wee little man. And my nickname, as you know, Jeremy, growing up was Big Bill. How many of you know it's all relative? It's where you're brought up. But I ponder, as I work so hard, I endeavor to see my sister come know the Lord. And yet at 63 years of age, 14 and a half years older than me, my sister died from mental illness, which led to starvation. And I often ponder, why does one person accept Christ, another person rejects them? 2,000 years later, I still ponder, how can I make Christ known? How many of you ponder that at times? I want to see the spiritual thirst of those quenched, if you will, of those living in wonderment. So here's my only questions, and then we're finished. Well, not really. Here it is. What do you wonder at? I want you to reflect on that with your family this Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, and season. It'll help you with your New Year's resolutions. What do you wonder at, even as you look at what do you want to see change in January? Then I want to ask you, what do you really treasure? No, what do you really treasure? If you've ever played the stock market, it is really a great feeling when your stocks go up. But how many of you know there's a great song written, what goes up must come down, and it will. What do you really treasure? I treasure my wife. I treasure my children. I treasure my grandchildren. Did I mention I want more grandchildren? I don't want to put you on the spot. This is a private talk, just between us and social media and the church. What do you ponder over? You know, Pastor Steve, the more I've gotten to know you as we go into this next year, I think I'm going to write your New Year's resolutions for you, because I still look at you as a very great man. And I want to tell you something right now. You wonder, you treasure, but you are a ponderer. You are a ponderer. Dude, you can strain an gnat and swallow a camel. You ponder over and over and over. But you know, the attitudes we reflect on create the testimony that we magnify to others. When we had that wonderful night when you and my wife played quite a bit of ping pong and the fellowship we had and the different things, we were going to bed that night, and my wife said, Pastor Steve is a very nice man, which that's a massive compliment. This might shock you. People don't always say that about me. So we need some nice people around, don't we? But I want you to hear me now. I want you to hear me. Let us ponder over ways of making the one known that we so treasure. So what am I asking you to do today? Wonder, treasure, and ponder. And now I'm looking forward to this. Rachel, Brittany, come out, wherever you are. And they are going to minister light. I'm going to say this real slow so they come here, look like it's all planned and right there. Guys, thank you so much for ministering. Get over here. I so treasure you guys. This is much of what I treasure. So treasure you guys. And now they're going to minister to us, light of the world. Would you welcome them back, please?
Child prays for peace on earth, and she's calling out from a sea of hurt. Oh come, Emmanuel. And can you hear the angels singing? Glory to the light of the world.
Oh, the light of the world. A few things I'd like you to know is Debbie Resendez. Where are you sitting? Debbie. Oh, my. I think I'm getting that Hemet fog right now. Too much sunshine, huh? This is a great place to live. Somebody asked me, how many of you know we are blessed? You may not know this. This is where God's light's going to shine. We're going to see revival break out. We are blessed to be here. Debbie Resendez, you and your team, and I know I can't mention everyone's name, but with the team that helped us set everything up along with Debbie, would you please, and Ron put up with it, would you guys please stand up? Stand up. We just want to thank you for everything you did. Come on now. And you'll see a lot of this on New Year's Eve as well. We are just so grateful. And also Madison Zipper, who's one of our leaders here in the church, and Wisdom Beyond Her Years for all of the work in preparing things musically for us. Maddie, would you please stand up? And can we thank Maddie for all that she has done? And then behind the scenes, there's, of course, Tricia and the great La Moray. They've got to plan all the administrative things, guys. We honor you, and we thank you. Now I'm in trouble because how many of you feel, obviously, can thank everyone who helped us here tonight and what have you. Who am I missing? Chris, am I doing okay? Well, there, worship team, the poor you have with you always. They do all the work here, man. No, guys, let's thank everybody who ministered to us tonight, every last one of you. Somebody asked me recently, how's it working here in a church this size when we're used to a much larger church back in Tacoma? And how many of you know the badger is much smaller than the elephant, but pound for pound, it's one of the fiercest animals on the planet? When it comes to musical ability here and just the talent and everything else, guys, how many of you know we're the first church of the Holy Badger? These guys are incredible. Last thing I want to mention, like Maggie was up here, delightful. Maggie, where you at? Where you at, Maggie? Maggie, where you at? Stand up, jump up and down twice. Okay, all I can say is this is why the drama ministry, and many of you know my background was professional acting, and I'm not acting when I'm here. I'm just sharing my heart. Just all I can do. More than sharing my brain with you, I want to share my heart. But when I look at the talent we have for Jesus here, and remember, we're going to be mentioning in a couple of weeks our next play. How many of you got a chance to see the last play? Come on, how many of you saw that? Believe God with me. We're going to raise $35,000 to $50,000 to get the lights we need for the next play, because lighting makes a difference. And how many of you believe God with me on that? Believe God. And I promise you, Marge and I will lead in giving. We will be leaders because we believe in this, friends, and we don't take it with us. This belongs to the kingdom of God. But for some of you young people and older folks that have an interest in drama, please, and Chris, I'm even doing it the last second. Tricia, help me. I want to get a pad of paper. If you have any interest in drama, I want your name, email, and phone number, and your bank account number, routing number, and except for the last two. But we're going to do some seminars there. We've got a great play coming up, and I'm hoping eventually to get to 3 a year, and that's our passion. We've got, friends, this is a way to reach people, so be aware of that. We are going to close with "Oh Holy Night" with the Norman Trio. So guys, come on, Mr. Would you come on? Welcome. Come on. Let him minister to us. And Bobby has joined the Norman family. I'll explain. They adopted her.
Sorry, we're just situating. Okay.
Sure your mic is working.
Test. Oh. Oh, holy night, the stars are brightly shining. It is the night of our dear Savior's birth. Long lay the world in sin and error pining, till he appeared and the soul felt his word. A thrill of hope, the weary world rejoices, for yonder breaks a new and glorious morn. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born, oh, night divine, oh, night divine. Truly he taught us to love one another. His law is love, and his gospel is truth. And chains shall he break, for the slave is our brother, and in his name all oppression shall cease. Sweet hymns of joy in grateful chorus raise we, let all within us praise his holy name. Christ is the Lord. Oh, praise his name forever. His power and glory evermore proclaim. His power and glory evermore proclaim. Fall on your knees, oh, hear the angel voices, oh, night divine, oh, night when Christ was born, oh, night divine, oh, night divine.
You know, it's interesting. Jesus Christ was an absolute miracle birth. How many of you know that? Now, I'm not putting on the same level, but Abishai, as his name from the scripture suggests, his parents tried for years and years and could not conceive. And this Christmas season, we're reminded God still does miracles in our lives as well. And so I want to let you know, if you need prayer, any questions, again, if you don't have a home church, everybody needs a pastor, and I would love to be your pastor. If you are already involved in a Bible-believing church, and man, we do not try to take beautiful fish from one fish bowl to another fish bowl. continue to swim where you're at. But the point is, if you do not have a home church, and if you're not really becoming a disciple, know the door's always open. Love you guys. Merry Christmas. Happy Hanukkah. And again, remember, New Year's Eve, we're starting at 5 o'clock. We'll be finished at about 6:30. There's going to be great testimonies and wonderful ministry and music as well, and a few other surprises. So God's favor's on you. So I just simply want to say to you, and here it is, Hine matavim anayim shevet achim gam yachad, which is Hebrew for how good and how pleasant it is when brethren dwell together in unity, because that is where God commands a blessing. The unity here has been stellar. How many of you can sense God commanded a blessing on us tonight? So go with God. God's favor is on you. God bless you.